Sense has roared from 19th position to first in the Derby. Hard spun, tries to hold for second, and then find the back in Sedgefield on any given Saturday. And here is Street Sense, a stretch running sensation. Regal Ransom and Pioneer of the Nile strikes the front just outside the 8th hole. Musket Man is coming hard down the center of the track, and Papa comes right there too. Down toward the inside, coming on through. That is Mind That Bird now is coming on to take the lead as they come down to the finish. And a spectacular upset. Mind That Bird has won the Kentucky Derby. Super Saver Calvin Borel, 1 furlong from the Derby here. Nobles Promise runs in second. Kenny O'Connell is now third. Make music for me. Big long shot now fourth on the outside. And they're coming down to the finish. And it is Super Saver. A late run from Icebox, but it's Super Saver and Calvin Borel.
3 Kentucky Derby wins, a unique Oaks Derby double, countless Grade 1 victories, and a Hall of Famer. He was given the nickname Calvin Borel for his affinity to skim the rail to victory. Good morning, racing fans. I am Brittany Ayrton alongside Matt Carruthers. Huge news broke this morning that Hall of Famer Calvin Borel, at the age of 49, would be putting up his tack for good.
Yeah, you know, he had I guess a fairly bad spill last spring, and he missed a few months. You mentioned Hall of Famer. He's done everything there is in the racetrack. Second winningest rider in the history of Churchill Downs, only Pat Day with more wins there. A guy who's been equally as dominant at Oaklawn Park throughout his career. You mentioned his Derby wins 3 and 4 years. With Street Sense breaking the juvenile Derby hex curse. You know, if you win the juvenile, you can't win the Derby. Well, Street Sense won the juvenile and then won the Derby for Carl Nafsker in 2007. Then he wins with Mind That Bird, and that was one of the great Derby rides of all time. I mean, it really was. It was the second biggest upset in the history of the Kentucky Derby, as Mind That Bird getting through on the inside to win it 50-1. I mean, you can go Shoemaker, Ferdinand, maybe a couple other rides better, but it was one of the great Derby rides. And then he comes back with Super Saver over the sloppy racetrack once again on the inside to win. So 3 Derbies in 4 years. You mentioned he's one of 2 riders to win the Derby and the Preakness with 2 different horses, winning the Derby with Mind That Bird, then taking off Mind That Bird to ride Rachel Alexandra to victory in the 2009 Preakness, beating Mind That Bird, who was coming on late in that race with Mike Smith. So, yeah, the wins at Churchill, the wins at, how many career wins did he have? Nearly 5,200, 5,196. He was a truly great rider, started his career in Louisiana and then ended up just being a great rider throughout the U.S., but mainly you think Midwest South when you think Calvin Borel.
I mean, he truly has a sensational resume that really, no doubt about it, he was inaugurated into the Hall of Fame in 2013 and well-deserved. I actually had the pleasure of speaking with his longtime agent of 24 years, Jerry Hissam, and he said it was an unbelievable ride with an unbelievable person that he really felt honored to work with. And just, he said, what I found so interesting about what Jerry had to say is that the nicest thing working with him, 24 years of never having an argument. Could you imagine working with a jockey agent, you being a jockey on the career of a lifetime and never getting into an argument in 24 years? Well,
yeah, in this day and age, I don't know what the average relationship spans with jockey and jockey agent. I mean, every once in a while you'll see that relationship, that where a jockey and his agent will be together for a long period of time, but that's the exception, not the norm. I mean, talk about, jockeys firing their agents. I mean, that's kind of common practice. So to have that kind of relationship, I'm sure it was great for Calvin to have that kind of stability, to have that kind of stability in his life. You hear a lot of the cliches that, that generally things are cliches because they're true in regard to someone who's in this situation, a guy who had a great career who's retiring. The hard work you hear people talking about, out at the racetrack at 4:30 every morning. A guy who was unbelievably tough. All jockeys are tough, but maybe Borel at another level, playing with pain. Yeah.
That's what Jerry said that really struck a chord with me. He said it was the excitement of being together for 24 years. He said it kicked off with the Super Derby. The pinnacle of it was obviously the 3 Derbies and Rachel Alexandra. But he said what he enjoyed really the most was getting out there in the morning and just seeing the work ethic that Calvin Borel had. He said if anybody wanted to follow a pattern of what these two did for 24 years, it all stems from work ethic, and Calvin Borel had it.
But he had that swagger, too. I mean, he was a...
That's a great word to use for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was a star, and he knew it, and he was somebody that, you know, I've met, you know, several different occasions over the last 15, 20 years, and he's somebody that right away you meet him, you feel the confidence, that he kind of exudes that confidence, and like any great athlete, confidence is a huge part of it. He put that on display, and when you're incredibly talented and you have that confidence, then you know, you do great things when it matters most, and he was obviously a big-time money rider.
Well, Calvin Borel was named on a few mounts at Oaklawn Park this week, but again, 49 years old, he is retiring officially, so he will not be named on those mounts. But hey, we wish you the best of luck in retirement, and Calvin Borel, thank you for the memories. So big news here on Wednesday morning.
Bet anywhere with TVG.